If you're comparing pest control software in 2026, put FieldCamp beside GorillaDesk, Jobber, and FieldRoutes. Jobber is the clean generalist. GorillaDesk is the accessible pest tool. FieldRoutes is the fixed pest operating system for larger route-heavy teams. FieldCamp lets the operation define the system. Chemicals, bait station, treatment, records, application logs, contracts, properties, and follow-ups become connected records with their own stages and rules. I'm comparing all four on real pest workflows: routing, automation, and pricing. So let's start with the setup and everyday usability. Jobber is usually the easiest for a new team to understand. A lead comes in, you create the customer, send the quote, schedule the visit, assign the technician, complete the job, and send the invoice. The mobile app and customer-facing pieces are polished, and if your team has used any modern field service software, the workflow will feel pretty familiar. GorillaDesk is approachable and speaks standard pest language. FieldRoutes has more depth, but onboarding deserves more attention. FieldCamp starts from a pest control template, then lets you change the objects, fields, relationship stages, forms, and rules without code. Jobber wins the fastest generic setup, while FieldCamp wins setup that still fits when your operation changes. But now let's talk about the actual pest control workflow. Let's say a quarterly residential customer calls about activity between scheduled treatments. Your office needs the address, service history, balance, last materials used, technician notes, and the next available appointment. The technician needs that context without calling the office. And after the visit, the records needs to stay connected to the recurring agreement. Jobber can manage the customer, property, notes, checklist, schedule, and invoice. You can absolutely build a workable process, but you're adapting a general tool. GorillaDesk, for example, already includes pest-oriented capabilities like recurring workflow and material tracking. FieldRoutes goes further with a pest-specific CRM, going contracts, bulk scheduling, customer balances, route logic, and operational reporting. FieldCamp goes deeper in a different way. A treatment record can relate to the property, technician, chemicals use, application logs, bait stations, and contract. Those relationships can drive follow-up visits and documents instead of becoming disconnected notes. FieldRoutes wins pre-built pest convention. FieldCamp wins configurable pest workflow depth. Now routing. This is probably the section that decides the purchase for a lot of pest control companies. If one technician drives across the entire service area because the calendar looked open, you lose production before the technician even starts spraying. Jobber can optimize daily and weekly routes and make recommendations using availability and travel time. That's useful, especially for a small team. GorillaDesk lets you view the day's work on a map, optimize selected and recurring jobs, account for buffers and starting locations, and dispatch those routes. FieldRoutes adds bulk scheduling, proximity technician specialties, recurring service automation, and deeper route planning for a larger customer base. For one to a few routes, GorillaDesk wins because it is pretty direct. FieldRoutes wins pure large-scale route density. Now, FieldCamp wins when assignment must consider the treatment, chemical handling, skill, territory, service window, property context, callback priority, equipment, and workload. So, not just which stop is closest. The next category is sales and customer communication. Jobber is strong at professional quotes, automated quote, and invoice follow-ups, approvals, reminders, and online customer interactions. GorillaDesk has estimates, reminders, customer communication review, a portal on higher plans, and a sales pipeline as you move into growth. FieldRoutes connects pest operations with marketing, reminders, collections, and customer history. For a polished standard customer experience, Jobber wins. FieldCamp wins the connected handoff because an inspection can become a structured estimate. Job, recurring contract, follow-up, compliance document, and invoice without rebuilding the pest details at every stage. Let's talk about AI and automation. Jobber now has more automation around drafting quotes, reminders, follow-up, and reception-related workflows, depending on the plan. GorillaDesk promotes AI agents and sales tools, but you still need to verify the exact agent capability you're buying. FieldRoutes is strongest when automation is tied to recurring contracts, scheduling, routing, collections, and its broader pest operating system. For simple front office automation, Jobber wins. FieldCamp wins pest-specific operating automation because rules use the actual records. It a rodent treatment and create a day for team visit, update a bait station and schedule its inspection task, or move a service contract toward renewal. The value is that each completed step creates the right next step from real pest records. But now, let's talk about pricing. Jobber's official pricing currently starts around $22 per month on annual core, with Connect around 73, Pro around 109, and Plus around 387. The GorillaDesk starts around $49 per route for Basic, $99 for Pro, and $149 for Growth. FieldRoutes is custom price, so you need a demo and a real quote. For price transparency, GorillaDesk wins. FieldCamp, like FieldRoutes, needs a current package quote, but the value case is replacing the fixed CRM plus site spreadsheets, compliance records, and manual follow-up logic with one configured operating system. So choose Jobber for generalist simplicity, GorillaDesk for straightforward Pest tool, FieldRoutes when standardized Pest routing and recurring operations at scale are the main priority. FieldCamp is my overall winner because it gives you Pest-specific objects and workflows without locking the company into one fixed Pest software roadmap. If you add wildlife work, commercial inspections, fumigation, or another adjacent service, you extend the same system instead of starting over. Take one treatment, one bait station follow-up, and one contract renewal to FieldCamp.ai and make the whole team show the whole workflow. Be safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one.